Olympic Games, the Premier League, the PGA Tour, Primetime's #1 show, Sunday Night Football, and Super Bowl 56, only on NBC.
Sunday night, we are running everybody in our house. We're cooking with grease. Let's go!
Waiting all day for Sunday night. Let's get it.
You thought nothing could surprise you. You thought you'd seen everything, but you never saw me coming. All eyes on me, ready or not.
That's the greatest throw I've ever seen.
Leads into the end zone.
I'm on my way. You can't stop what I got. Ready or not, down zone. You best get moving. I'm about to change the game.
Touchdown, Tampa Bay. Nobody giving us a shot.
Ready or not, you can't escape.
Trying to get out of trouble. Upfield. Touchdown.
You can't stop what I got. Ready or not.
Rodgers.
Victory!
Lambeau Field. Maybe no better place for a football game any time of the year, but especially in December. 4 inches of snow to start the weekend. Not tonight, unfortunately. It's dry in the mid-30s for the renewal of the NFL's most storied rivalry. Despite all the off-the-field drama this season, everybody in their 12s in green and gold are happy. Aaron Rodgers has the pack primed for another playoff run. Meanwhile, stop me if you've heard this. It's been another disappointing year for the Bears, but they do get their rookie quarterback Justin Fields back. Look forward to seeing him come off the rib injury tonight. It's the 204th meeting between Chicago and Green Bay, and it's only the 78th time it's been on Sunday Night Football. No, not exactly, but this is one of the staples of Sunday, and we love it because it is what the NFL is all about. Welcome to Football Night in America. We start you here every Sunday. Mike Tirico, Tony Dungy, Drew Brees. So here are the Packers. We're now getting to December and cold weather and starting to assess their chances, and once again, they are right in the middle of it. And it's Aaron Rodgers, it's Devontae Adams, but you say something else.
Yes, let's talk about Joe Barry, their new defensive coordinator. He has preached 3 things: be fast, be physical, and be sound. And they're playing tough defense to go along with Aaron.
Yeah, and how about the run game? I love what they're doing with their run game scheme. In fact, I think it rivals that of like Kyle Shanahan and what the Niners are doing. A lot of these shifts in motion, creating these matchups, creating leverage, these run seams. And according to head coach Matt LaFleur, he thinks that A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones are 2 premier backs to help execute that, which is huge for them on offense.
And Matt LaFleur is not getting enough credit for what he's doing. I know if I was in his shoes, I would be saying, hey, let's lock this home field advantage up because we can run the ball. We can play defense. We get people up here in this cold weather in January, we're going to be tough to beat.
Even in a year where the road teams have done well, it'll feel different with a running team in Green Bay in January. This was such a good slate. All the games really looked interesting. And it was like a blowout Sunday halfway through. Like, what's going on here? A bunch of things stuck out. What's the headline for you?
Yeah, really disappointing for Baltimore. You know, not only are they at risk of not winning their division, but they may not make the playoffs. Lamar Jackson goes down today with an ankle injury. Who knows how long he's going to be out. But over the last 6 weeks, they've only scored more than 20 points one time, and that was today after Lamar Jackson came out. Defensively, they've been decimated by injury, losing Marlon Humphrey last week. So I think the Ravens are in trouble.
Mike, you talked about blowouts. Dallas was on their way to a blowout, but what were they doing here? 4 minutes left, throwing the ball, interception, return, pick 6. This got Washington back in the game, but that Dallas defense, I'm telling you, time after time today, they made the big plays. They played great football, and they've got Dallas in strong position to win the NFC East.
Our highlights of all those games coming up. Welcome to those of you who watch Denver win an emotional game over Detroit. You know, in the holiday season, there are signs that you can tell it's coming. For us, it's when the playoff tiebreakers and a bunch of elves in khakis come in with their NFL tiebreakers and their calculators because Kornacki's here. He's brought his staff to the studio. Yes. And Steve, welcome back to Football Night.
Hey, Mike, it's great to be here. I love, who doesn't love the NFL playoff chase? Let's take a look. Let's start in the NFC. Remind you how this works. What we're showing you here is how things looked, what the playoff probabilities were coming into today, and then how they look at this hour. Remember, some games still obviously in progress right now. The stakes obviously going to be huge tonight for the Packers. They are very much in pursuit of the Cardinals and that top overall seed in the NFC, needing a win there to keep pace with the Cardinals. Remember, the Packers would have the tiebreaker head-to-head win over the Cardinals. The other big piece of business that was taken care of earlier today on the NFC side, you saw it with Washington and Dallas. Washington had that opportunity with a win to pull within a game of Dallas in the NFC East. Instead, Dallas holds off Washington. They all but lock down the NFC East in one of those top 4 seeds. And meanwhile, you could see Washington right now, their playoff chances take a hit. They are clinging in part of that madcap scramble. They're clinging to that final spot right now And here's where the at this hour piece of it comes in. San Francisco playing Cincinnati right now in Cincinnati. That game coming down to the wire. Here are the stakes to be determined in the next few minutes. With a win, you can see the Niners will have a game up on all of these other teams who would then be chasing them. And the Niners would have a better than 75% chance of making the playoffs. If the Niners do not pull it off here against Cincinnati, it ends up being a six-way tie here. You can't even see the Saints on there. There'd be a six-way tie. The Niners' chances would fall south of 50% if they do not beat the Bengals. High stakes there in Cincinnati. Let's take a look from the AFC perspective. Again, coming into today and at this hour, we mentioned Cincinnati. You see them. The opportunity for Cincinnati in this game with a win, they're actually going to leapfrog Baltimore. You see, Baltimore got beat today. Cincinnati with a win would have the same record as Baltimore. Cincinnati would leapfrog Baltimore, top seed into the top of the AFC North. With a loss, however, you see those playoff chances for Cincinnati. They're going to take a major hit. They'd fall to about 40% with a loss. And again, you'd have a big scramble here. Buffalo looking like they're in deep trouble against Tampa Bay. Cleveland got that win over Baltimore today. Suddenly, Cleveland is in the mix. Indianapolis, obviously watching their chances improve with everything going on around them. So you could have a big scramble here on the AFC side. Cincinnati with an opportunity to really move forward, or with a loss, Mike, be a big, big hit for them.
And the team right above them, the Chargers, just beating the Giants a couple of seconds ago. Welcome to those of you who watched the LA victory at home over the Giants. Let's look at some on-the-field highlights from this Sunday. We turn it over to Maria Taylor and a guest everyone would like to have at their Christmas party. Chris Sims. Hey, guys.
Kornacki's khakis and the breakdown of the picture, but we do have the best throws, Chris, every single week. So,
we do.
Yeah, who did you key on today?
Well, the heck with everybody else is what I said today. Okay. Let's go to Patrick Mahomes, because we haven't had a whole lot of these moments in Kansas City this year. If they can only play the Raiders every week, okay, because that seems to be when they're on fire. But in the pocket, under pressure, not looking to scramble, find McCole Hardman down the field. That's been a problem with Kansas City and Mahomes all year. Great play design by Bieniemy, Eric Reed, easy screen, touchdown pass to Josh Gordon. And then, of course, we got to show some Mahomes magic. I mean, this is unreal. Of course, we've really never seen anybody do this. Run to the left, ho-hum, backpedal a little, and then throw the ball 50 yards across the field. Pretty unbelievable. Got to love Mahomes when he's on his game like this.
Yeah, the offense was certainly rolling. We'll also tell you why the wheels on the bus were rolling, but that's later on in the highlights. First, we get you out to Lambeau. We've got Jack Collinsworth and Rodney Harrison enjoying the weather, guys.
Maria, there is something therapeutic about Lambeau Field in mid-December. Don't you agree, Rob?
Yeah, it's my first time at the North Pole.
You look like you rode a sleigh over here.
You already know.
Man. We were locked in on defensive football all day. Dallas, Kansas City, they had your attention. What was the best D that you saw all day?
I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys, and this is a different defense when they have both their defense ends healthy. It helps take pressure off of Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
He had 2 sacks. A forced fumble, and Randy Gregory was outstanding. Had a tip interception, which set up the first touchdown, and Dorrance Armstrong, defense end, had a fumble recovery and a touchdown. Dak Prescott does not look healthy. They're going to have to depend on this defense to carry him the rest of the season.
You just mentioned Micah Parsons. As we come to this home stretch of the season, who is your defensive player of the year as it stands right now?
Well, it's a lot of good players, but really Micah Parsons stand out because he's a rookie, and he takes care of a lot of responsibilities, playing defensive end, learning linebacker. Heck, even today he was dropping 30 yards down the field. It's close, but I'm going with Micah Parsons. No one can do the things that he does on a football field in the NFL. Nobody.
You're correct about that. That 4.39 speed can close the gap in a hurry. And Rob, before we get to more football, we want to send all of our best to those affected by the devastating tornadoes across parts of the U.S. To help those impacted, you can text tornadoes to 90999 to give $10 to the American Red Cross Southern and Midwest Tornadoes Relief.
All right, so Bears-Packers here on Sunday Night Football, and there is Justin Fields back after the rib injury. He took over in Week 3 as the starter, so he has seen the Pack before. We're just going to run you through since Aaron Rodgers became the starter. Some names who are familiar.
A long list.
Yeah, Jay Cutler, like the Bears, around 500. Then we're going to run through a bunch of players in the league, like Hoyer and Barkley and Glennon and Trubisky and Daniel. And you know what they all have in common in Foles? They're all backup quarterbacks right now in the NFL. And Andy Dalton as well now is Justin Fields' takes back over. So Chicago hasn't had the guy. They've had good quarterbacks, but not the guy, and they hope that Fields is. The league average for completions is 65%. In only 2 of his 8 starts, has Fields been above 65%. So what does that tell you, Drew, about a young quarterback breaking in the league?
Yeah, well, as a young quarterback, the first thing you have to learn is how to just take the routine completions. You know, one of those things that is definitely his strength is the playmaking ability and the toughness that he's shown. But right here, your eyes are down the middle of the field. You would see that you've got one of your best receivers running scot-free. This is a huge play opportunity. Instead, you don't see him, you scramble. Well, now you're late, there's a miscommunication, and you fire one of these long foul balls that ends up getting intercepted. Here, this is awesome. You got a defensive lineman bearing down on you. You stand in there, strong, deliver an accurate ball up the seam. And here, when things do break down or you've got nobody open, his ability to get outside the pocket, whether running right or left, throw receivers open, make plays with both his legs and his arm. He's got playmaking ability. He's got moxie. He's got all the makings of being a good quarterback and that you can really build a system around.
So you see it.
I do see it, but it's really the routine completions and the things that are just executing the offense on a consistent basis that you still need to see, and every young quarterback goes through it.
Mm-hmm. You know, what you're telling me, Drew, I would be excited if I'm a Chicago fan, because I know as a coach, I've had a little success teaching quarterbacks to take the routine completion.
Right.
I haven't had success teaching him how to make those wild plays that he can make.
Those are instincts that you can't teach.
And he's back off the rib injury. They hope they can keep him healthy the last 4 or so and just get that experience that'll build a foundation for next year. But will he have the same offense and the same coordinator and the same system? That's part B of the story. More on Fields. Let's go back up to Lambeau, where Jack is standing by with nice and warm Rodney.
I mean, Mike, if Justin Fields has given Chicago anything, it is hope. So, Rod, what do you think of his chances? What do you think of his case so far to become the franchise quarterback?
Obviously, he's an athletic kid, but I love his toughness. I mean, he's a guy that can throw the ball down the field. The Bears need to do a better job of providing him with a more stable environment, continuing to build that offensive line, and he needs weapons. This kid needs weapons around him.
And this Packers defense that he will face has become one of the best. So what should the game plan be for Fields to try to find success against that group?
Well, it seems like he's at his best when we're watching film, moving, getting outside the pocket, but also to design quarterback runs and run the football, take some pressure off of him.
And on Tuesday, the NFL announced the Walter Payton Man of the Year nominees, recognizing players for outstanding community service and excellence on the field. For the second straight year, the Bears nominee is tight end Jimmy Graham. He's a licensed pilot who supported military veterans by taking them on flights in Army aircrafts that he himself has restored. And over in Green Bay, the Packers nominee is running back Aaron Jones, a crowd favorite he is. Aaron has a foundation with his twin brother Alvin that's dedicated to making an impact on children's lives. The winner will be announced on Thursday before Super Bowl 56.
Well, it's a chilly night at Lambeau Field, but one place you might want to be is the Green Bay Brat. Look at this super fan bus. If you wanted to hang out and do a tailgate, this is the spot that I would be in.
I'm with you.
Pretty impressive spread. You could sleep there, you can pull up, you can grill out, and you can get ready to take on the Bears. And if you have Aaron Rodgers, you know that you're 22-5 as a starter, and you might get a win.
You might own them.
You might own them. Let's get you back to the highlights. Matt Rule, remember, he fired his offensive coordinator, Joe Brady. They're hoping to get the offense going, but not a good start against the Falcons.
No, good first drive, moving the ball in the second drive, bad interception there. I don't care who the offensive coordinator is. Cam Newton just doesn't see the underneath coverage there. Easy pick six for the Falcons.
Shout out to Michael Walker. He had a son born on Wednesday named Cam.
Way to go, Michael.
And a pick six. All right, Cam Newton again. A fumble. It's recovered by Grady Jarrett.
More mistakes. I mean, Atlanta, was winning the game. Carolina hanging around. You just, again, you got to be careful. You're falling down there. Don't try to reach out and hand that ball off.
All right, well, the Falcons are able to take advantage. Matt Ryan finding Hayden Hurst. The Falcons win it 29-21. Meanwhile, the Seattle Seahawks looking to win their second straight game for the first time this season.
Wow.
Okay, Russell Wilson, take a fire, take it deep, and see whether or not Tyler Lockett can come down.
That's right. It was him and Lockett all day long. Russell Wilson making some magic here. He's one of the best deep ball throwers we've seen in football over the last 5 or 6 years. Great throw there.
55-yard touchdown for Lockett and 142 yards on the game. Okay, now let's go, Rashad.
Rashad Penny. I mean, this is we haven't seen this guy. It's a first-round pick. It's great to see the run game get going. The guy's got some talent if he can stay healthy.
I think Pete Carroll's excited about those 137 yards
running around.
Yeah, okay. A head coach maybe not as excited. A lot of drama and reports about the rising angst between Urban Meyer, his staff, and his players. Ryan Tannehill not taking long, taking it himself, 5-yard touchdown.
Yeah, he's a good athlete. When he does get outside the pocket, he's capable of doing that right there.
Later in the third, Trevor Lawrence, a tough day for him.
Tough day. Probably his worst day as a pro. Threw 4 interceptions. Could have probably been 6 or 7. They were outclassed by the Titans today.
Urban Meyer not looking too excited to shake Mike Vrabel's hand. Remember, they were on the same offensive staff. But let's go to the Tennessee Titans side, because you would think they lose Derrick Henry and they're still in the conversation to make the playoffs and win their division for the second year in a row. How are they doing it?
Yeah, don't count them out. I mean, they're still one of the best teams in the AFC. They hit a little hiccup with the Patriots and Texans game, but awesome offensive line, one of the best defensive lines in the game, and we know Vrabel's going to coach them up.
All right, let's see whether or not the desk agrees with you guys.
Yeah, they're really flying under the radar. But like Chris said, I think they can control both lines of scrimmage, and that's something that can win a lot of football games. They can get at the D-line can just take over a game, and offensive line can do enough to help them run and make plays in the play-action game.
And it's taken a little bit, but Mike Vrabel and Ryan Tannehill have figured out how to play without Derrick Henry. That was an adjustment, and it's working.
Look, they dominated Jacksonville. Jacksonville ran the ball 8 times for 8 yards in the game. Trevor Lawrence threw it 40 times. Maria alluded to it, real rumblings of discomfort within the staff and players about Urban Meyer, the first-year NFL head coach. Here was Urban's comments after the game when asked about that report from NFL media over the weekend.
What's the answer? Start leaking information or some nonsense? No, that's nonsense. That's garbage. That's that's, once again, I've been very blessed. I've not really dealt with that. I've not dealt with, well, did you hear what he said? What? No, let's improve on offense and get our quarterback in a position to be successful. That's our focus. What someone's brother said or someone said, that will occupy very little of my time. And if there is a source, that source is unemployed. I mean, within seconds.
And bring Mike Florio from Pro Football Talk. Mike, people are asking if Urban Meyer's going to stay employed in Jacksonville. What's the latest as you read this situation?
Well, there isn't just one source. There are sources. He has motivated enemies on his staff and in that locker room, and they have been talking and talking for weeks, Mike. It finally hit critical mass yesterday with that NFL media report, but it's been out there. People aren't happy, and he's not going to just make this go away. There's going to have to be some serious changes within that staff in the offseason. Now, as to the organization and how it views Urban Meyer, if you ask the team for comment, they send you to the personal spokesperson for owner Shad Khan, and that person has no comment. But he did direct me to an article that was recently published by the Florida Times-Union where Shad Khan says some things that lead you to believe he's willing to stay the course no matter how dysfunctional it currently is. But right now, Mike, it is extremely dysfunctional between Meyer and the people who work for him.
At 2-11, tie with Houston, worst record in the AFC. Those teams play next Sunday. As we continue, games we care about. The Cowboys surviving their scare in D.C. This one got tight late. And the Ravens, we're going to talk about them as a 1 seed. What's going on? How's Lamar? Football Night continues after this.
This is Football Night in America, served by Applebee's.
Sunday Night Football! Everybody watching!
Well, there's a certain purity to the December breeze at Lambeau Field as Green Bay tries to run down the top seed in the NFC, currently just a game behind Arizona, but the tiebreaker belongs to the Packers. Aaron Rodgers, he's been on a roll lately, and he's also surrounded by one of the most versatile backfields in all of football with Aaron Jones and now the emergence of A.J. Dillon.
Matt LaFleur has done a great job of rotating these guys, trying to keep them fresh and trying to keep them healthy. But the playbook does not change, whether it's 200-pound Aaron Jones or 250-pound A.J. Dillon.
What do you think of the quads on this guy, man? Look at these things right here.
Yeah, and you know what? I think there's still another level physically he can go to. He's gotten better. He's catching the ball out of the backfield. And the defensive back's worst nightmare is trying to tackle a guy catching the ball out of the backfield with those thighs.
You got to deal with Quadzilla over there, man. And behind Devontae Adams, you got Randall Cobb, who has been the most productive receiver for Aaron Rodgers. He's out indefinitely with a core injury. So who has to step up big in that absence?
Well, Devontae Adams will receive a lot of attention, but Marquez Valdez-Scantling, he's the guy that's going to get a lot of one-on-one opportunities. Look for a lot of shots down the field by Aaron Rodgers to him.
And he's the speed guy, right? But he was criticized heavily for those 7 drop passes last year. But not a single drop to his name through 13 weeks. That's what they've been waiting on, Mike Tirico. Back over to you.
All right, we'll see if that happens. We'll get you guys inside to watch the game. New Orleans and the Jets. Highlights of this one, Tony. Alvin Kamara back for the Saints, who've lost their last 5. 4 of them without Kamara. Boy, it looked like a different team.
No, this was huge getting Alvin back. He is so dynamic and does so much in this offense.
27 carries, 120 yards. Taysom Hill, the finger injury, threw it okay, but his running was the story.
And I loved what they did. You know, he was off a little bit. You saw him struggling with his grip, but these design quarterback runs, Mike, they were huge.
And this was the capper. This one from 44 yards out. Hill, 73 rush yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. Much needed win for the Saints, who are headed to Tampa next Sunday night at 6 and 7. So that was the running. We know Taysom can do that. What about the throwing as you watched him with that finger injury? Kind of similar to Russell Wilson's injury, but this one is taped up for him.
Yeah, it is. It's that flexor tendon, you know, on his middle finger. So really it's just his ability to grip the ball and then power, you know, pushing it down the field. Listen, the Saints getting Kamara back is such a game changer. He's so electric for that offense, what he does in the pass game and the run. The defense is a top 5 defense. Really the question is, will his injured finger allow him the opportunity to push the ball down the field and give the Saints enough of a passing game to compete with a team like Tampa?
Well, they've got Tampa next week, and Tampa is tough to run on, but we saw those design runs. When Taysom runs the ball as a quarterback, you've got an extra blocker, and that throws the defense into disarray.
Yeah, Kamara back. 32 of the 68 plays were touches from Kamara today. Sean Payton said he was on a pitch count. It was like Walter Johnson pitching both ends of a doubleheader. Look him up on YouTube for those of you. That was a generational reference. I'm getting old. Older by the second. Getting set for the Bears and the Packers. Speaking of old, the oldest rivalry in the NFL. It's a rivalry Aaron Rodgers usually wins.
Celebrating the victory. Presented by Allstate.
Diving for the pylon. Touchdown. Green Bay all the way to Super Bowl 45. Rodgers scrambles left, winds up rainbow. Touchdown. Oh my goodness. Rodgers. Touchdown.
I don't believe what I just saw.
Football Night in America is brought to you by Applebee's new Cheetos Boneless Wings and by Allstate. Save money like a champion with Allstate.
Oh, there he is. The man, the myth, the legend, Aaron Rodgers. He's at home, Lambeau Field, Green Bay Packers, Bears. As you know, he kind of owns the Bears, right? So that's always fun. So he says.
Yeah.
And then the facts kind of show that, certainly. And this is where we want to get to the points bet pulse. You see the over-under for Aaron Rodgers. Hey, Bears pass defense pretty good. But I do know one thing. The Packers are going to try to get the ball to Davante Adams. 90.5. Over under there, I mean,
I know I would.
We know they're going to feed them, that's for sure. And that's what we're going to break down right here. Is their ability to get Davante Adams the ball, Drew?
Yeah, so this is a run game, or run play. We call these run game solutions. So if you don't like to run for whatever reason, you're going to throw the ball out there to your playmaker.
Yeah, and then Matt LaFleur, Rodgers, they understand the defense through their game planning during the week, understand what teams will do to adjust to motions. This here, you see Jalen Ramsey, they get off of Davante Adams, and now Davante Adams is matched up versus a less than corner for the Rams.
Yeah, and there is no better receiver against the press in all of NFL football than Davante Adams. He will find ways to get open, and when it's a down-the-field route, go route, Aaron Rodgers loves those because, hey, if I got him beat, it's over the top. If he's even, hey, we're throwing back shoulder. But their chemistry and his ability to throw Davante Adams open and him to know where that ball is going to be is uncanny.
Is as good as anybody we see in the NFL, without a doubt. And let's give Matt LaFleur some love, too.
Yeah.
I mean, great game plans. They never waste plays. They're creative in the run game and the pass game. I know both of us like that. All right, now, download the PointsBet app and get betting options you won't find anywhere else. Michael Tirico, over to you.
You got it, Chris. We've got more highlights. Tony, let's watch Dallas and Washington. Washington's couple of games in 4 weeks against Dallas. Mike McCarthy guaranteed the win, quote unquote. It was Dallas early, 11-0, and it was Dallas's pressure on Taylor Heineke. Micah Parsons, we're going to talk about him a lot, forces this fumble here.
Dallas defense was playing outstanding. They were making Mike McCarthy look like a prophet early on.
Dorrance Armstrong got the touchdown, but this was the play, the pressure from Parsons.
This rookie is doing a lot for Dallas, rushing from all different places, dropping into coverage. He is playing outstanding football. Dropped an interception there, so push up.
2 sacks today, 12 on the season. Big lead for the Cowboys. Back comes Washington. Heineke, deep ball here. Cam Sims ruled no catch, but it was overturned on review.
And really a great job fighting for the ball, got his knee down, touchdown. Taylor Heineke, this is what he does, though. He creates when nothing's there.
Washington down 16, now down 13. Now, Tony, watch.
I do not understand this, Mike. Someone tell me, 4 minutes left, you're up by 2 scores. Why are you throwing the ball? This allowed Washington back in the game.
Cole Holcomb, the 31-yard pick six. It's a 7-point game. Extra point was blocked. Cowboys go 3 and out. They get the ball back. Heineke hurt. Kyle Allen in. He's sacked. Randy Gregory. Dallas's defensive guys being together, a big difference today.
Over and over and over today, the Dallas defense made the big plays. This, we didn't know if it was an incomplete pass or a fumble. Ruled a fumble.
So Dallas gets the victory, in great shape in the NFC East now, and Gregory, Parsons, and Lawrence, 3 defensive stars for Dallas. Tony, we came into the game saying Dak's going to have all of his passing game options there. This may be a big game for them. It was the defense being reunited, first time since game 1, with their big names.
It really was. That front 7, pressure on the quarterback, chasing things down. They played with fury. They played with intensity. Dan Quinn, the defensive coordinator, has got these guys playing fast.
And as we watch the games together, Micah Parsons is getting us all to stop and watch every time he's on the field. Let's look a little deeper in that as we simplify the game, powered by Microsoft Surface, and go back to Chris and Drew.
Yeah, that's right, Mike. I mean, Micah Parsons, MVP of football, defensive MVP. I like him from any of them. He's that good. I haven't seen a skill set like this since Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah.
And, I mean, off-the-ball linebacker, can rush the passer, can do it all, and that's what we're going to break down here.
Yeah, it's so unique. Here he is as an off-the-ball blitzing linebacker, and who wants to block this guy? Certainly not a running back, and not even a guard. He beats these blocks all the time, creates these types of plays.
Right. Now he's not a stand-up linebacker. He's a defensive end, and when he plays defensive end, he's one of the best pass rushers in football, creates a little pressure here in completion.
Yeah, and let's try him at Mike linebacker. You understand the responsibilities that guy has there. He's got to make calls. He's got to carry receivers down the field. This guy is so athletic. He runs a 4.4. He can do everything. Had a chance at probably 2 interceptions today in addition to all the sacks, but he is a game changer for that defense.
Game changer, he really is. And I think we got to also take into account how smart he must be for a rookie to understand all these different positions. Pretty impressive. And for more on Micah Parsons, Mike Florio talked to him today.
Yeah, and I asked him, does he have a preference as to where he's going to be? Because he can be in so many different places. He doesn't have a preference. He likes the uncertainty because that allows him to create havoc because they never know where he's going to be, and they can pick the best matchup on a given play as to whether he should be standing up or in a 3-point stance or just wherever they line him up. I also asked him about the Lawrence Taylor comparisons because Chris isn't the only one who's said that he's maybe the best pass rusher since LT. He told me, yes, he is one of the great pass rushers of all time, LT, but I want to be my own man. I want to be someone that people compare themselves to in the future, saying, I want to pass rush like Micah Parsons.
Well, we can tell you he became the favorite to be the Defensive Player of the Year during the game today. There's Matt Nagy. He and the Bears try to get some defense against Aaron Rodgers and get a win in the Bears-Packers rivalry on Sunday Night Football.
Simplify the game, powered by Microsoft Surface, the official sideline technology provider of the NFL.
Holy smokes!
A little razzle-dazzle.
That's big-time stuff!
Yes! Well done, young man!
Gasoline in my veins.
Oh, my goodness. It was amazing.
3-2 touchdown! As we rise from the flames.
As he rumbles, and he's in. What a play! Wow! Dagger!
This is Football Night in America, served by Applebee's.
The Cheeseheads have been closing in on a Super Bowl appearance for 3 years running. Now it's all about clearing that NFC Championship game hurdle. This Aaron Rodgers offense now paired with a top 5 scoring defense. So, Rod, how did this group lose 2 All-Pros with Zadarius Smith, Jair Alexander, and somehow get better on that side of the ball?
Defensive coordinator Joe Barry, you have to give him a lot of credit. He's come in, he's simplified the defense. You don't see the mistakes that you saw last year, the miscommunication, the big plays down the field. Rashawn Gary, he's been outstanding. And the one thing I want you to watch, he leads them in sacks. I want you to watch his effort. Defensive tackle Kenny Clark, he's dominating the interior of that defense. He's playing on a Pro Bowl level, but the guy that's really solidified this defense has been Devondre Campbell. He's come in, and his ability to go sideline to sideline and cover running backs and tight ends has been tremendous for this defense.
Rasul Douglas, he was a practice squad player. He just won NFC Defensive Player of the Year. Plus, you got
Don't forget about them safeties.
Amos playing
That's
safety.
right.
Great ball back there in the safety position. Let's get into Sunday Night 7. It is Justin Fields this week going up against that secondary. How many completions and pass yards tonight?
It's cold. It's a little windy. So I expect 17 to 19 completions and 150 to 179 yards. We'll see what happens, Jack.
There's $1 million on the line this week. You can make your picks along with us on the NBC Sports Predictor app. Maria, back over to you.
All right, thanks, Jack. Well, obviously the league is in mourning as former Broncos great Demaryius Thomas died at the age of 33 on Thursday. Thomas spent 8 years in Denver, helped the Broncos to win a 2015 Super Bowl win. Broncos starting the game with 10 men on the field in honor of Thomas. And after the game, Teddy Bridgewater saying that they want everyone to know that Demaryius will be with them every day of their lives. As we get going in the game, Kenny Young forcing a fumble. The Broncos recover, and defense placing the ball down on the 88 to honor Demaryius Thomas.
They paid tribute to Demaryius Thomas throughout the game. Anytime they made a big play, it was really cool to see by the Denver Broncos team.
Yeah, and the Denver Broncos were making great plays all over the field.
Yeah.
Javonte Williams, a touchdown. The Broncos, with heavy hearts, walk away with a 38-10 win. New York Giants on the road taking on the Chargers. Let's start with the throw that you wish you could make.
Oh, well, I mean, what? I maybe could have made it one day. I don't know, actually. That's a 65-yard bomb on the money. This is what I like out of the Chargers lately, Maria. Stretching the field. It's going to make their offense better. Herbert's so good at it.
Okay, and then Herbert finding Jared Cook. That'll be a 1-yard touchdown. Herbert, the first player in NFL history with 30-plus touchdown passes in each of his first 2 seasons.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. He is a rising superstar in our league and already one of the best quarterbacks in the game.
So the Chargers win it 37-21 and will take over first place in the AFC West with the win Thursday versus the Chiefs. Oh, did I say Chiefs? Okay, let's start with them taking on the Raiders. And look, the Raiders decide to poke the bear before kickoff. Pre-game ritual right on the logo.
We're going to dance on your logo.
A little disrespectful. I think the Chiefs took that personally. First play from scrimmage. Josh Jacobs.
Yes.
The ball's knocked out. Jared Reed punched it loose. Mike Hughes will take it to the house.
I mean, the defense for the Chiefs have been the star of the show the last few weeks. This is a great way to start the game. Great job by Jerron Reed. The front seven's playing good, and Mike Hughes picks it up. Easy touchdown.
All right, later in the first, let's go to the Mahomie, Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, man.
He's opening it up to Williams, and he's going to do all the rest. 23-yard touchdown puts the Chiefs up 14-0.
I see the pick that happened there. They understand the defense they were getting all day long, got them in the right play, easy touchdown, just like this one right here too, Maria.
Oh, they got another one coming? Yeah, that's Josh Gordon getting his first touchdown as a Chief. Oh, I love this dance right here. Yeah, I want you to hear something in the stadium after the game. Right, you're hearing the wheels on the bus go round and round because if you remember, Chris Sims, a season ago with the Raiders taking a victory lap in their team buses after defeating the Chiefs in Week 5, and I think again the Chiefs took that personally, so they played that at the end of the game. They walk away with the win, but maybe more impressively is the way this offense has been rolling in this 6-game win streak.
Rolling. I mean, the defense has been awesome. I think it's the most consistent we've seen Patrick Mahomes really all year. 20 of 24, very efficient, no stupid plays or mistakes. Really clean game. Watch out for the Chiefs.
Yeah, and it balances out with a great defense that's being played by the Chiefs right now, Mike.
Yeah, you're right, Maria. The points, that's the most points they scored since that 54-51 Monday Night Football epic game against the Rams. So the offense is good. But the defense, what's changed here, Tony?
Well, I think energy and effort and also moving Chris Jones back inside. He's creating havoc. They're dominating the line of scrimmage. You're not able to run on them. They're playing defense. This takes me back to when I was coaching there, Neil Smith, Derek Thomas, where people are excited about the defense in that stadium.
Yeah, I think they're playing well in the secondary as well. They've got 16 sacks, 8 interceptions, and really we know how the pass rush and the secondary work together, but giving up 11 points or less in 6 games on average is pretty remarkable, and it's been a huge part of their turnaround.
That's right, 65 total points allowed in 6 games. That we didn't see coming from Kansas City, but they are on a roll against the Chargers on Thursday night for the lead in the AFC West. Leader in the NFC North, Matt LaFleur's team. What a great record he has. Only 9 losses since he's become the head coach of the Pack. Tries to keep it that way against the Bears. Coming up on Sunday Night Football.
part of it. I don't know if you can question a whole lot of what I said. I've had a good record over the years against them and won a lot of games in Soldier Field. In order to trash talk, you have to have a lot of confidence in what you've accomplished and what you're going to accomplish in the future. No regrets for saying what I said, and the record kind of speaks for itself. It is what it is. I don't regret saying it at all.
Those who know Sinatra know his nickname was Chairman of the Board. We just go owner for Aaron Rodgers. And, of course, put it on a T-shirt, right? They love it. Certificate of ownership for the folks who sell their stock shares. Even print out the Google box who owns the Chicago Bears. Aaron Rodgers, football quarterback. They had fun with the comment Rodgers says was directed to one. Aaron's had his fun over the years with the Bears. As we go on, field presented by Hyundai. Let's talk about Tony. The Packers quarterback still battling that toe injury.
He is, but his mobility is still a big key to
the return of the rookie Justin Fields back in the lineup after the rib injury.
Yeah, he's going to need to find a way to keep drives alive tonight, take the routine completions when they're there. When things break down, run around, do the instinctive stuff, make those splash plays, but otherwise stay calm, stay poised in this environment. Lambeau Field, prime time, but a win tonight could really make this season for the Bears.
And like Tony said, the defense of the Packers dealing with them is going to be a challenge for them.
Yes, and I'll tell you what, Justin Fields is going to have to make some off-schedule plays, but they've got to run the football.
They do, and possess the ball.
Welcome into those of you who watched San Francisco, Cincinnati, an overtime thriller. Those of you who were with us, let's take you back through the highlights. And San Francisco jumped out to a lead in this game, 20-6. George Kittle had a massive game, targeted 15 times, 13 catches, 151, and that touchdown, which he did upon hanging together. Now, fourth quarter, Bengals in a hole, chipping away. Jamar Chase is their big play threat. He made some big plays.
And Chris Sims was asking all day, why are they taking so long to attack the San Francisco corners? They had some injuries. Chase finally got them.
That was late to tie the game at 20. San Francisco moved down the field. The veteran former Bear, Robbie Gould for the win from 47. It trails off to the right. And the game goes on as they go to overtime. In overtime, Cincinnati brings it down the field on the opening drive. 7 plays, 52 yards, get a McPherson field goal. But then it is more Kittle in the middle from Garoppolo. It sets up this play. Brandon Ayuk from 12 yards out to close the game.
A little misdirection. Ayuk comes around behind the line of scrimmage and does a great job extending to get that ball in.
And the San Francisco Niners are going to turn out to be one of the winners in the day in the NFL. They slide up to the 6th spot. Cincinnati, a damaging loss. Touchdown after review. San Francisco 26, Cincinnati 23. Take you back to an earlier game. This was a big one. It was Cleveland at home taking on Baltimore. They've been on a Sunday night a few weeks ago. This is the big play for the Ravens. Short, medium, and maybe long term. Lamar Jackson pressured, stays down, injured on the play.
Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah coming after him. Not a dirty play, just trying to get him down. Fell on his ankle.
So Lamar taken to the locker room. He is ruled out for the game. And Tyler Huntley, who started the game against Chicago a few weeks ago, has to come in his stead. And he doesn't get off to a good start. Myles Garrett comes together.
And why do you block Myles Garrett one-on-one, give him that short corner? This was the trifecta: sack, fumble, recovery.
And touchdown. So the Browns are on top. But Baltimore starts chipping away. Huntley did a good job with the offense after he settled in.
He actually did. He got in rhythm, got rid of the ball, made some plays running, and here again, up late, man-to-man coverage, bump and run, gave Baltimore a chance to get back in it.
30-yarder to Rashad Bateman. Huntley again to Mark Andrews, the best receiver on this team right now. For a while, Baltimore's offense, this is the best it looked in some time. Then the great Justin Tucker onside kick, not looking for the ball. Off of Andy Janovich, he's a fullback, gotta be looking for the ball. Baltimore recovers.
Yeah, and you just felt like with Tucker, boy, they just need a few yards. They're going to get in range. Look good for Baltimore right here.
And they were driving at their own 45, but it is 4th down going to Bateman. But Cleveland brought the pressure. Denzel Ward, the great corner on the back end. Baker Mayfield and Cleveland get the win 24-22. A lot to unpack with this, starting with the Lamar Jackson injury. Mike Florio, what are you hearing?
Well, he has a sprained ankle. The team announced that after the game. He's in a walking boot. There's going to be tests tomorrow to determine the type of ankle sprain and how long, if at all, he'll miss. And on this play, Coach mentioned it's not dirty. It's also not roughing the passer because Lamar Jackson is out of the pocket. The protection against a low hit disappears when the quarterback chooses to leave the pocket, Mike.
So let's spin this a little bit forward. We don't know how Lamar's going to be health-wise. We don't know how long he's going to be out. But even with him healthy, there are some trouble signs you're seeing here now.
There really are. It's been 7 or 8 weeks since we've seen Ravens football. We haven't seen them dominate, pounded on the ground, and then Lamar making throws off the play action. It's been too much trying to create offense. They've got to get back to running the football, in my opinion.
And not only that, but they've been turning the ball over at the same time with that lack of production. And then you lose your top-flight corner in Marlon Humphrey last week for the season. So that's a hit for that defense. And then you look at the remaining schedule. Not only do I think they're at risk of not winning their division, they may miss the playoffs as a result of this because they've got a tough stretch here.
Really?
Yes.
I know. You were sitting next to me in our screening room circling games. They might lose this. They might lose it. We got you all sucked in.
I'm making my early John Harbaugh's at his best, though. Trust me.
That's right. Yeah. This is the first time they've scored over 20 in 5 weeks, but still they lose. Welcome to those of you who watched the Bucs' dramatic win. Highlights of that are ahead, but want to go for the Sunday night game flow presented by Progressive. Maria and Chris take us back to how San Francisco won their game in overtime.
Yeah, Chris was over here just circling George
That's what
Kittle.
I do.
That's what you were doing.
He's the Kittle cruiser. Yeah, we got to break him down. He's one of the keys to this offense in San Francisco. And Shanahan, as good as anybody in the game at getting his stars to get the ball, whether it's Deebo Samuel or George Kittle, but they're always looking for Kittle. Drop back pass game, huge catch here in overtime, down 3 points. Then another go-to, gotta have it moment. Him one-on-one versus a safety. Jimmy Garoppolo's gonna look for him. It's like Brady looking for Gronk. Every big moment, you can expect him to look for Kittle down the middle. He's one of the best tight ends in the game, Maria.
Well, that was the Sunday night game flow presented by Progressive. Obviously, George Kittle, second straight game with over 150 yards receiving. Could be the game flow for next week, Mike.
Could be. If Brady wasn't looking for Gronk or Godwin, we'll show you who he was looking for the game-winning TD in overtime. We know Aaron's going to be looking for Devontae Adams, among others. Football night continues as we get set for the Packers and the Bears. And all the highlights, best of, still ahead. Stay with us.
It was a last Christmas. We stayed in the house. We covered our nose and covered our mouth. But it's Christmas time. We'll be in line for a booster. Now we're in line for a booster.
Shout out to our friend Jimmy Fallon, along with the other greats there, lending their voice and to a good cause as well. The holiday season, the holiday spirit. Download that and get set to settle down and watch the end of a thrilling Sunday. Packers-Bears coming up on Sunday Night Football. First, Tony and Drew. Let's go through the best of Week 14. Then we'll get to the best ending of the day. Tony, in New Jersey, New Orleans gets Alvin Kamara back, and they get back in the win column.
Yeah, he was dynamic. Taysom Hill also. They'll need these guys next week against Tampa.
That's the Sunday night game on NBC. Drew, the Giants went out to see the Chargers, and they got to see how good Justin Herbert can be.
Yeah, these big plays have come back into the Chargers offense. Don't we wish we could all make throws like that?
Yes.
And Herbert has been on fire.
Chargers on a roll. They've won 3 of their last 4. They play Kansas City for the division lead on Thursday night. Tony, the Raiders went to visit the Chiefs. They jumped on the logo, and the Chiefs jumped on that.
Yes, that's exactly what happened. Big rivalry game. Kansas City offense back in gear, but it was really the defense once again setting things up.
KC has won 6 in a row. They're 9-4 and on a roll. Most points they have scored in 3 seasons. To Cleveland, where drew a huge blow for the Ravens. Lamar Jackson, injured here by Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, hurt his ankle, did not return. Tyler Huntley came in, played well later on, but big play by Myles Garrett in the defense really set the tone.
Yeah, credit to this Cleveland defense all day long, especially with the pass rush. Myles Garrett wreaking havoc, getting the trifecta, the sack, the strip, the recovery, and the touchdown.
Browns one of 6 teams in the AFC. They make it 5 teams at 7-6 at the moment. In Washington hoping to get to Dallas, but Micah Parsons got to them.
Well, Dallas coach Mike McCarthy said, we're going to win this game. He knew he had Micah Parsons on his team.
It ends Washington's 4-game run. Dallas up to 9-4. In Cincinnati, they go to overtime. Big lead for the 49ers. Bengals storm back. Brandon Ayuk, the game winner here.
Yeah, this was great. Back and forth all day. Big game for both these in the playoff picture, but credit to San Francisco, the way that they were able to win this game. George Kittle, a huge night in Cincinnati.
The 49ers have won 4 of their last 5. Kittle was targeted 15 times, had 13 catches. That's the best of for everything but what turned out to be the best last game of the day. Buffalo in Tampa Bay. Let's take you down there. Josh Allen and the Bills trying to rebound. Remember, the last time they saw it was Brady's old coach Belichick, who threw it 3 times all game. Brady threw it 3 times the first 4 plays, and then he kept throwing. Mike Evans, a 13-yard score here.
These guys have developed such a chemistry. He knows Mike Evans well now. He's throwing these high balls to him. Great touchdown here.
35 on the season, 11 to Evans. 24-3. Tampa in control of the game. Complete flip in the second half. Here comes Buffalo. Allen on the run, 18 yards.
And they got back in it with some of these designed quarterback runs.
He ran for over 100 yards and threw for over 300. Only a handful of players have ever done that in the game. To Dawson Knox, his 8th of the year. Inching back with intent are the Bills. Now Allen again, this time across to Davis, a 3-point game.
All-out blitz, got rid of it, knew exactly where to go with the football.
Gabriel Davis, the 4-yard catch, ensuing possession. Pressure finally will go. Let's go to Allen first, 27-24. After they stop him, huge first down in this final drive by Davis to keep it alive on 4th and 4. And then it's Dawson Knox.
Tight end delay, well-designed play again, get them down into scoring position. And Josh Allen had a chance, just stepped out of bounds to go in and win the game.
Felt like they were going to win. They kick a field goal, go to overtime. In overtime, the Bills are stopped, punted away. Tampa gets a close 4th and 1. And then Brady, who's he looking for? Rashad Perryman over the middle. He'll run away from Edmonds. He'll go the distance. It's a game-winning 58-yard score.
Buffalo fought back valiantly, but Tampa in the end, they had Tom Brady, and he made the big plays to get the win.
What a comeback. So we had this game at 24-3 at the half, and then Buffalo outscored Tampa 24-3 to get it to overtime. As you walk away from that game, what's your first thought?
Well, that's why they got Tom Brady. And you get in these situations, just kept the composure. Even though Buffalo was coming back, you always had a feeling Brady was going to make that big play to win the game.
Yeah, I really respect Buffalo's ability and desire to come back there. But I do think they're going to have some problems going down the stretch here. When they lost Tre'Davious White at that corner position, I think that really put them in a bit of a tough situation because they're a down safety defense. In other words, a lot of one-on-one matchups outside. That didn't bode well for them today with all those weapons from Tampa, and we'll see how that works down the stretch for them.
And not having Tre'Davious White is a big blow to Buffalo's defense because when you do want to play those man-to-man coverage situations, they didn't have White on Mike Evans today.
Look, the tough loss to New England on Monday night. Then you go play Brady and the Bucs. You go overtime and lose that. So Buffalo, that looked like they were sitting pretty, now sitting in a little bit of hot water in terms of getting in the playoffs. Steve Kornacki is back with us as we get towards the postseason to show us how things impacted the Bills and others in the AFC today. Steve?
Yeah, Mike, that was a frantic 20 minutes in the playoff race, those 2 overtime games, and really a shakeup here in particular in the AFC. What you're seeing again, what it looked like coming into today, what the playoff odds of the teams look like coming out of this afternoon. You can see a couple big changes here. Cincinnati, what a missed opportunity this was for the Bengals. You saw coming into today where they were. They got help when Baltimore lost. A Cincinnati win, they would have leapfrogged Baltimore, been in first place in the AFC North. Instead, with the loss, you can see the Bengals fall all the way down to 9th, now well under 50% is their playoff chance. So a huge, huge blow there for the Bengals. They would have had close to a 70% shot at making the playoffs had they pulled that win out there. Also for the Bills, you say they're starting to flirt with disaster. Their chances of making the playoffs were at near 80% coming into today. They're still on that 7 line, but now it's down to 66% for the Bills. You see, by the way, look who made their way in, at least for the time being. The Colts, it was 7-6 coming in, 7-6 coming out. They're idle, but they move in because of this shakeup. Big test for the Colts next week against the Patriots. And who was the biggest gainer today in this madcap AFC race? They're still not in, but you didn't see them in this top 10 last week. And now suddenly the Cleveland Browns are sitting here just 1 notch below Buffalo, 7-6. They beat Baltimore. And again, huge, huge assist for the Browns there by the San Francisco 49ers beating Cincinnati. It's the Browns sitting 1 spot out of the playoffs, 45% chance of making their way in.
And Cleveland has to go to Green Bay in a couple of weeks in addition to their division game. Steve, so glad you're with us on Football Night the rest of the way. Winners, losers, AFC playoff picture for you.
Yeah, I think this AFC North battle is really intriguing with Baltimore, Cincinnati, and Cleveland. I think the rest of the spots, in my mind, are pretty solidified with that playoff picture, but all those teams are going to play each other, and I think Baltimore, unfortunately, has a chance of dropping out of this entire thing, and Cincinnati or Cleveland jumping into that divisional championship role.
Do not forget the Chargers sitting there at the 5 when the Chargers play the Chiefs in that Thursday night game in L.A. First chance of the Chargers to get one of those huge home wins that could set the tone. Let's flip it over to the NFC, winner, loser, whichever one you want for today.
Well, I like San Francisco going on the road, getting a big win. They're starting to play San Francisco football, running the ball. That defensive line today got a lot of pressure on Joe Burrow. Watch out for the 49ers.
And look at these 5 teams over here sitting at 6 and 7. Even the Saints and the Falcons, who had a nice win today over Carolina, is still very much in it. Philly, which was idle. Philly plays Washington next week. It's going to be a crazy last week. The good news is no more buys. Everybody's on the field the rest of the way. Time now for the home team picks brought to you by Lowe's. Usually we take it around the horn. We don't need to today. America and the rest of us are all on the Packers in this one, as you see across the board. Everybody thinks Green Bay, which is usually dangerous. So let's talk about what Chicago needs to do in this first half to be in the game.
I think offensively they've got to run the ball, get Montgomery going, and Justin Fields is going to have to make a couple of those wild plays to get that offense going.
Yeah, and find ways to stay on the field. Stay on the field, because what does that do? That keeps Aaron Rodgers off the field. And you got to find a way to stop Devontae Adams and at least just keep this run game in front of you. Avoid the big plays.
Those are the home team picks brought to you by Lowe's. You know what I like about these picks? I stay in the lead no matter what happens.
I know you like
Great
that.
job, everybody. We are minutes from getting you to Green Bay. The Packers are getting set to continue their quest for home field advantage. They'd like to be the #1 seed in the NFC. Bears try to play spoiler. Oldest rivalry in the NFL. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Catherine Tappan coming up. Enjoy the game. We'll see you at halftime.
This has been the Hyundai Sunday Night Kickoff. Spanish language audio provided by Telemundo Deportes, or watch tonight's game in Spanish on Universo.